What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe, joined here today by Gabriel.
Hello.
And Roberto.
Forever second.
I don't know why I keep calling you Roberto on the podcast.
I'm sure new listeners are probably like, oh,
who's Roberto?
He sounds
His
exotic.
name is Robbie.
But that's your normal reference to him when
I know,
we're
I do
not
call,
podcasting.
yeah, I
together.
call you Roberto a lot. That's Robbie. Robbie Payne.
What's hilarious is the way that stuff works. Just nicknames in general.
Like
are
why?
stuff, which Joe is from Meade County
I'm
in
smoking,
Kentucky,
Joe.
so he is born and bred to nickname all things.
It's just
Lil
it's
Bump.
just how we communicate with
you
things
nickname
and
all
people.
things.
You just,
As crazy as I had a really good friend in high school, and he came. I grew up in Meade County, and so they moved to Elizabethtown, and he nicknamed everything.
yeah,
Like,
it's just you gotta.
everything. Like
Yeah, you name
games.
your
It's
truck.
so odd because
Everybody.
I grew
You
up
name all
in
your
the country.
friends.
I grew up on a farm.
grew up
but
in Meade County?
It's a Meade County
in Hardin
thing.
County, one
Meade
county
County.
Yeah.
adjacent.
It's different.
My
Different
mom's
world.
family is from Meade County. We did not nickname anything. It's just so weird. It's like two
Nicknames-
different
I don't know.
worlds.
Nicknames are just so interesting though, because like my parents a lot of times will refer to me as Rob. No one calls
Which
me
is
Rob.
so weird.
No one.
Yeah.
And if anyone else calls me Rob, it's super
You're
weird.
like,
I'm
what?
how
But they
about
say it, and you're just
Rob?
like, whatever.
yeah. It's almost like a term of endearment kind of thing, and so I don't even consider it. I don't even
Yeah.
think about it, and then I'm like, oh wait, they do call me Rob like
Yeah.
all the time, but it's not the same. Like it's
Yeah.
super weird. Like my stepmom basically raised me, and we always called her Belinda. Just that's the way we grew up.
Yeah.
But calling her that didn't feel any different than calling her mom.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like her name almost became in my brain synonymous
Yeah.
with that. So it's
Sure.
super weird how nicknames work. So
Yeah.
like when you call me Roberto, I don't even think about it. I'm
That's
just like,
Roberto over
I
there.
mean, that's what he
My
calls me all the
son,
time.
we don't call him by his name around the house. He is the boy child. That is what we call him.
Boy child.
Yeah, boy child is his his login for his Chromebook.
Oh,
He
that's
is
funny.
the boy child.
That's
That's,
funny.
his
He'll have
Roblox name, and
He'll have to
I
unpack
s-
that when he turns.
you know,
I know,
if
right?
I say boy child, he comes running. He's like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?"
That's
like,
great.
Yeah,
I said that I had everything ready for the podcast. We're getting started a little
Wrong.
later, and I remembered Paul the plant. I remembered Dan the dino.
Boom.
I forgot my water. So I knew I was forgetting something. I got the light
know where it is.
going.
Lights
we're,
are on.
we're rocking and rolling.
Drink some of
You
that.
get water after the break.
That's right. Yeah, I gotta
So,
power
so
through.
did you like the strawberry?
I
Dr.
loved it,
Really?
but I like strawberries and cream stuff, and it's
Yeah.
very real strawberry flavor.
I might be
Dr.
like,
Pepper,
I
zero
love-
sugar,
yeah,
strawberries
I
and cream.
love a real strawberry milkshake with real strawberries.
You might like that then.
Yeah,
but
It's
I've never
very
had a strawberry beverage where I'm like, that's really good. It's
That
always
one
have to
tastes
try
more
this
like
one.
a natural strawberry
I'll give
like
it a try.
milkshake.
Yeah.
We're not drinking any coffee today, but shout out to
Too
Fresh
warm.
Roasted
Not
Coffee.
yet,
I
but
know.
It's
Like
our
the
weather's
weather
been
outside is
super
warm,
weird.
but it's not. It's gonna get cold. It's strange.
It's gonna be probably like when we get done with this, it'll be snowing probably.
Yes. Shout out
Why
to
do you
shout
say
out
things like
I know
that?
it might be. Shout out to Fresh Roasted Coffee if you want a bag of special edition Chrome Unboxed anniversary
had some
blend.
coffee today.
Yeah.
I've had two
delicious.
cups. Yeah.
I drank 2 while I was at home loading my Traeger because I'm
I hope
an animal.
that I hope that they like the anniversary blend was obviously for their 10-year anniversary.
I hope it's for their 11 too.
Yeah, it's
I
like
hope
it's just hung
it's a
around.
staple,
I hope that
yeah.
they just keep
Hey,
bagging it for us. So
To be fair, they've got multiple other blends
That are
we've
really
very
enjoyed.
good.
Yeah.
Blackbeard's Revenge is fantastic.
Tiger Nebula.
Tiger Nebula's.
Dark Nebula.
Dark Nebula.
Never once
All
drank
nebulas.
a cup of this. And
All the
been like,
nebulas.
It's just so
I've got
good.
my mom and my
guess if we did a single
sister-in-law
origin
on it.
in the espresso machine, it probably wouldn't be great.
Right.
Probably.
For like
Just 'cause that's-
but did we get didn't we get like a little sample thing that had some single origin from them?
I think Josh did.
Or Josh
Yeah,
did.
Josh
I don't
did.
know. I remember doing a pot with some
Pots are fine.
Guatemala it
Roasted,
was like
yeah,
a- I don't
roasted
remember.
or brewed coffee.
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
delicious.
Single
Yeah.
origin's awesome,
But-
it's just not good in espresso.
The anniversary blend, I feel like you can make a brewed cup with, and it's fantastic in the
Yeah.
espresso machine.
Yeah,
so
we-
it's a very versatile blend. That's why we picked it. It's our favorite. If
Yep.
you want to check it out,
Yeah, Josh and I have
chromebox.com/coffee.
brewing a pot once or twice a week, and it's
Yeah.
good. But it's like every Monday we get here, and Robbie and I usually come in. We drop our kids off at school, and we get here and we play a little round of golf and make that first cup. And every Monday it's like, man, sometimes
good.
it just hits different.
It
It's like,
does.
no, it hits different every single Monday
it's-
because I have good coffee
stuff.
at home, but I don't have a Breville and
Our hookup, like our
That.
setup here, is awesome.
It's perfect.
It's
Yeah.
it's the best. I mean, I come over here like I mean, the coffee shop downstairs has good coffee.
It is good.
They have good coffee, but we have equally as good coffee up here.
There's no
Like,
there's no downgrade.
I don't go
and
down there to
we've-
get a
it's
cup of
already
coffee
paid
if
for.
I'm downtown. I just pay for it.
Oh, heck no.
I already paid for it here. Okay, let's dig into some news of the week. Let's start with Spotify because we both tried Spotify maybe like a year ago.
I've tried Spotify twice.
Andrew,
prior to
whenever
this time.
Andrew got me going on it, that was the first time I tried it again, and then it wasn't working, and I went back, and then recently went back to it again last couple
It was
months.
actually my go-to back in 2012.
Yeah.
Like that been when it first came.
I was on
then.
Spotify
Because
back
it
in the
came
day
out.
too.
I had
yeah.
an iPhone at the time. It was the only iPhone I ever had, and one of the girls in the front office at the dealership that I worked at was always had Spotify playing on her computer when I got there. So
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
there wasn't a whole lot to choose
No.
from. Back then.
it's a great service, but there were some issues with some casting.
That was the main issue.
Yeah.
I mean that
Casting
was
was-
the issue.
Casting was just jacked up all the
And it
time.
would just
You
stop.
cast
It would just
stop.
randomly stop. Yeah, and it's
And-
super annoying because we put on music in the office and just let it play. And so having music cut off randomly, it's just annoying, especially when you're in the middle of something trying to write or whatever. And so
Well, and especially when there was Google Play Music / YouTube Music always available,
Always working.
And now there's all kinds of different solutions. But like Google Play Music was, it had its issues too. But you know, it's had a fervent fan base. You know, there were people that were really bent out of shape when it went away. I was kind of one of them. I was okay with it as long as I was just like, if YouTube Music will just do. Remember how long I wrote 6 articles probably about YouTube Music's web player not having a cast button, and how absurd that was. I mean, like those are silly things to not be able to do, and that's one of the things that Spotify couldn't do. Like it was bad at casting. And like,
I still miss Google Play Music, and this is my big thing about it, is that my kids are really, they're not musically inclined, but they love music. They love to just have their, Nest Minis play music, or they'll be on their tablets or whatever. Google Play Music had a toggle for explicit filters.
yeah,
YouTube Music does not.
yeah.
nope.
Now you can, even if you apply like the kids settings with Family Link and all that stuff, it doesn't. So if the kids put on some music and then it just goes to whatever's next,
Never know.
you never know what it's
Well,
going to get.
Spotify does. I haven't tested it yet.
I'd be interested because
Yeah.
that would almost be enough to make me switch.
Well, and so what happened was, I think we talked about this before, didn't we? The whole like us sharing the account.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Just-
we talked about it on here or not. just add it to the pile.
Yeah, just add it on. It is what it is.
But yeah,
We've
I've-
accepted it at this point.
I've tried it a couple times to this point, and it was casting both times. One time, the first time I tried it, I was like, I don't see enough upside here versus
Right. There was no difference.
versus Google Play Music at the time.
Right.
And Google Play Music was the thing that got me onto streaming music. I started with the fact that they had that and had the ability to upload your own stuff, because that's back in the day. I
Yeah,
had
that was
CDs, and I converted all of them digitally to 192 kbs.
Yeah.
Which is not like the highest. It's not like Wave, but it also was much better than the streaming standard was
Right.
128.
Yep.
You could hear it, like you basically hear it in like cymbals and high end stuff. Like it has a garbly sound to it when you compress music like that. And so I hated that sound, and I liked having my own stuff. So I uploaded my entire library, like 15,000 songs or something.
Was theirs the Vault? Somebody's was the Vault. I don't know if they had a name for theirs or what.
No, because they just used Google Drive. Like they
Yeah.
linked it went through all kinds. It was Google, so it went through all
Yeah,
kinds of
absolutely.
iterations.
8
but
versions.
yeah, but the ability to do that and then upload my album art, you could tack on, if you tacked on the album art I had to use a Windows computer to do this. So and you'd have to go through name some of the albums, wouldn't pick up names. I mean, I put a ton of work into my digital music library.
Right.
And so to know I had it somewhere in the cloud, this was early cloud computing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so that's what kind of turned me on to it. And then I just noticed 6 months to 12 months into using the service, they upped the quality of the streams of their own music, because at first it wasn't good enough. So anything that was my music, I wanted to make sure I heard it in that 192 that I uploaded. And it got better, and their album art was always better, and the naming on the songs was always accurate versus some of the things that I might have messed up over time. And it was just like, well, I started tending to like those, and I started choosing the Google Play version over my version, which is always a clunky thing anyway. Like when you look up an album and have like your version.
Oh yeah.
But that was like the start of me going, yeah, I don't think I'm going to own music anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have anything. I don't have any CDs anymore,
And I still don't.
I don't know why I would even want. Why would I want them?
And maybe
even
you
if I
can
had them.
explain this to me. I still don't understand why people purchase music that way.
People still like the idea of collecting. It's no different than people buying bourbon or anything else. Like,
But
they
even
want to,
digitally, because
hold it.
I know I have some friends.
buying, just
I have
downloading.
friends personally
I
that
have no
buy
idea.
albums from Apple Music, and
No
I'm
clue.
like, why? I don't understand that.
I mean,
I
if
think
you
it's a
don't want to pay
control
the
thing.
subscription fee,
Right, it's
I
a
mean, if you don't want to
control
pay the 10,
But this
See, here's-
person's also a music
They
person
buy
like
stuff all the
we are.
time, right? That's what happened to me.
You
I'm
know
like-
who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder if the artist gets more of a cut when you buy the album instead of stream it.
Possibly,
Probably.
but in this situation, I literally think it's just a matter of
control.
not knowing any different. Honestly,
That could be
I
it,
feel
too.
like what it is, but
Some
I
people-
don't-
Are
some
they
people are
streaming as well and listening
I
to
don't-
the?
see, that's the thing. I don't think they stream. I think they just buy stuff that they want.
listen to it.
Yeah.
And I think there's still a lot of people that do that. And I think it's this idea that I don't want, like, what if that service goes away? Like, like I've sold off all my DVDs, for instance. Hey, I'm not going to watch a standard definition DVD like a weirdo anymore.
Like a caveman.
Like all my DVDs were standard def. I didn't have any Blu-rays, and so I made that transition way back. And so it's the same idea there, though. Like, I'm going to buy these things so that I can make sure it doesn't fall off of streaming. Like with movies and TV, that's, I still think, more of a thing. Like I love Wedding Crashers. I love the movie Wedding Crashers. It's one of those ones every once in a while I just want to watch. And so if I come across it on live television sometimes, I just stop. I went ahead and bought it on Google
Right.
Play Movies, and so I know I can pull that movie up and watch it because I purchased it. It's not going anywhere. But sometimes it's not streaming anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not on a service because these licensing and stuff, they'll bounce around. They can only be on one.
Yeah.
feel like-
Music isn't that way.
I feel like I feel like they're in the last, honestly, like the last, gosh, probably since I started using Google Play Music whenever it was fully streaming. There were some times early there when you'd look for an album and it wasn't there yet.
They didn't have it.
Very rare.
And then maybe
But
Spotify did or
Yeah.
whatever.
Prince was an example. Prince had an exclusive license with, it might have been Spotify.
Yeah.
It was exclusive with one streaming service until he passed away. They've opened that up now, but it was very
Super rare.
very.
Yeah,
I think
and they're-
YouTube
Very
did-
rare now.
YouTube
There are a
did that
few-
whole. They were only on Amazon for a long
Yeah.
time, but that's outlier stuff.
I'm not even going to guess the artist, but it's an older, well-established artist who recently
Elvis.
no, like pretty recently, and it might have been around some of the Joe Rogan stuff with Spotify, and they said they were pulling their album. They weren't going to have their album on Spotify. So like, there's going to be random ones like that. But in general,
Taylor Swift really threw a fit, but she threw a fit around streaming music in general for a little bit there, and she pulled all her stuff off of streaming music. I don't have enough money.
She's making a little
but
money off the tickets.
The point is, like, these days, I cannot remember a time I've searched for an album on Spotify and it wasn't there.
And that's the thing, like, of the streaming services now, it has the most robust. Like, there are lots of artists who do specific albums or specific stuff just for Spotify.
Yep.
And so that's another upside to it. And so the long answer to the question of, like, why do people buy? Man, I have no idea. Like, other than it's this idea that I have this and it won't go away, but it's just not. That's not music anymore. Like, movies is a different thing. And so I'm not sure. I mean, I guess but that's the thing. If I'm paying for Spotify and it somehow they fold up shop, okay, well, I'll go back to YouTube Music. And if Google cut it off, all right, well, I'll go to someone's going to pick up that mantle. Guarantee it. There's too much money involved.
Like,
in
I could almost get. I know people who are collectors vinyl and stuff like that. I get that, like, physical stuff, but like. Somewhere at some point I purchased the movie Interstellar. I have still not watched it. Do not judge me. My wife cracks on me about it. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know where it is. I don't know what platform I bought it on. It might have been on Movies Anywhere when Movies Anywhere was still a thing. It's
on Vudu.
It might have been Vudu, which is owned by Walmart. I can't find it because it was on the other day and it was like the last 20 minutes of the movie. And I was like, oh man, I really need to watch it. So I clicked to see where it was available to watch. It's not on any. I own like 17 streaming services and there's nowhere I can watch this movie because is it Sony?
I think so. Whoever it is that Nolan makes it. His movies
I'm not
through.
sure.
I
But
think
I
so.
was so mad.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal is there, but anywho, I for some reason, I guess you had switched back to it here recently. And you've been telling me different things about it, and I was like, I'm kind of interested, and you kind of proved the point that the streaming or the casting has been fixed. You know, because it cut off a couple times. I'm like, see, it's still doing that stupid thing. You're like, no, it's because I switched over to my earbuds.
headphones. Yeah.
And then I didn't realize what they were doing until I got the Tesla.
Yeah.
And so I got the Tesla, and I thought like, oh, I'll just install some apps. No, that's not a thing. It's very low. It's a car, so that's probably a good thing.
Side load it.
Yeah, don't want to be hacking this. It needs to be super duper secure. So they have Tidal, Apple Music, and Spotify. Well, Tidal, no. Apple Music. Yeah,
I did the free
Tidal
trial
had
for
Tidal
Tidal,
had
yeah.
potential when it first came out,
and
but
they're
it's
all
just
about
kinda-
lossless audio and
Yeah,
stuff
the
like that. Everything else I listen to, I'm like, I don't have a problem with it. It's not like we're listening to 128 kilobit streaming, and so I was like, well, Spotify is an option in here, and it's built in. Like I was listening to Bluetooth, and sometimes like the playlist I was listening to would show up, and sometimes it wouldn't.
Right.
I was like, it just feels janky, and then I got to make sure the phone's connected and all that stuff every time. Versus getting in there, and you got this big old screen, you just go hit the button,
Yeah.
or I sit down and the music just comes right back on because you never really turn the car off, you know. So I was like, this would probably be worth getting a Spotify thing. So I knew you had the subscription.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think they have a family or a group rate or something like that. So we did like the couples. And you got to live in the same address.
It's called Duo, and it was like confirmed that this person lives at the same address as
Is
you.
this
And I
person
sent it
your
to Robbie
lover?
and said, "Yikes!"
They should do all the streaming services should do like a broscription.
Yeah.
package. Like, you pay a little bit more because you don't live in the same place, but you know,
Right.
like
Just group it up.
there's nothing
So,
happening.
If
We're
anybody
just
from
these
Spotify
people,
is
you
listening,
know?
sorry, but
That's
That's
what
what we did.
Google does. They let you have your family. You know, it's like
They
friends
share
and family.
Netflix.
I think there's a next
passwords and
tier
everything.
up. The next tier up is like a family account,
Yeah,
but I still
for
think you have
people.
to have the same residence.
Probably.
Yeah.
So the residence
Anywho.
is here at the office.
Yeah, we're set up. We're rocking and
We're
rolling.
here enough hours a day.
We own a legal address at this office.
That's
so
right.
There's nothing
Done.
wrong with it.
Can't
You
do
can put
nothing.
me on there.
I
Okay,
do
you go.
sleep here sometimes.
I don't.
I'm
I've
wrapped
fallen
up in one
asleep
of the
here.
moving
Yeah.
blankets.
I've not intentionally gone to bed here ever, but yes.
So yeah, so I went ahead and we got signed up and started using it, and then I realized the brilliance in what Spotify has done with the casting part of their solution. And as soon as I realized it, I'm like, I'm sold. Like, because we have our old boss, we talk about it all the time, Kenny. He'll constantly be like, oh, look at this thing that Spotify's doing. Like at the end of the year, the way it wraps up all your
it's
stuff
fantastic,
and the way that it recommends things and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I know
So-
Spotify's awesome, and but I
The
get
casting was not
I get
working.
YouTube Music for free with my YouTube Premium account.
Right.
You drag my YouTube Premium account from my cold dead hands.
I'm never giving that up.
No way.
Yeah.
Until they give creators an ad free.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
that would be
Then-
nice.
Then I might get rid of it. I don't know.
Then we'd
If
all,
you have
then
a-
we'd all be sharing a YouTube.
Yeah, I
history.
know.
You're like,
Yeah.
what have you been watching,
What?
dude? Weirdo. Dog music?
Yeah.
What is this?
Mine's just a ton of disc golf videos.
Mine would be
Mine's-
video game. I get my kids watch YouTube on the TV on
No,
my
then that's the other
account.
thing. My kids and your kids
Yes,
mixed into
I
the mix.
get Lanky Box and makeup videos.
Lanky Box.
And there's this one.
It'll
there's-
end one day.
Yeah,
I promise.
there's-
Lanky
Yeah.
Box.
They've kind of worn off of that. They're into Preston and Presley now, who are pretty big gang. Which Preston's like 26, but him and his wife. This one girl they watch, all she does is buy unclaimed luggage and unclaimed packages, and she sits in her bedroom. And I mean, they're clearly very well off. They're probably
Yeah.
I think they're both YouTubers. But I'm like, this stuff pops up in my feed, and I'm like, what is this?
No, I just go through my
Yeah.
history and delete it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
So-
Get rid of
this
this. Get
junk.
this out of the algorithm.
But
It's weird. Yeah.
So I don't remember the point I was making.
So-
So I've got to go in. So their whole thing, Spotify's whole thing now with streaming or with casting, is basically on the back end on the server side with your account. It's basically keeping up with where you are choosing to play back your
Right.
music. So I can open my phone, I can open my Chromebook, wherever on my watch. The Spotify app on Wear OS is pretty good. I can choose the source. Basically, it's no different than just an output selector, and I can just choose. I can tell it where I want to output my music. So I pick the album, and then I go, well, I'm going to output this to my watch. If I got earbuds paired to my watch, boom, then I can listen to on my watch, and then I can immediately hit that button and tell it to go out of my Chromebook, and then tell it to go out of my phone, and then tell it to go out of the Tesla, or tell it to go out of the cast group becomes a device basically in that list, and so it never has an issue, and it's not just hey, it's casting and it kind of works. It's actually a better solution to the entire thing because, like, so if I've started a cast with my phone, for instance, we're playing, our par 3 here in the morning. Then I go to the desk and get ready to start writing. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and be casting from my phone all day. It's easier to go from the Chromebook, because if something comes up I don't like or whatever, I can change it. Well, then I can go with YouTube Music. I go to the computer and I click cast, and sometimes it'll just join the existing cast and like put you in the flow, and then I choose a different album. Sometimes it cuts the music off completely.
Starts your cast.
Sometimes it won't find the cast group. Sometimes, it's just like, it just depends on
that.
the day.
And I get the like when you're casting, I get the little music note in the shelf, and I can kind of control it, but it's not my cast.
Right.
And
then sometimes if you try to join it, you can. It'll join, and then you keep going, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it stops the cast. Sometimes you got to restart it, or you join it, it stops the music. You try to start the music, doesn't work. You try to turn off the cast from the web player, and it looks like it turned it off, and then you try to recast to it, and it sits there and spins, and it's like, it's this whole broken thing. Whereas the way Spotify has it done, as soon as I choose that output to a different selection, that cast session stops immediately, and I can restart
Which
it
is
if I
a
want
shame,
to.
because you would think that the company that created the cast protocol would have, because even simple stuff like moving room, well, I say it's simple stuff, but like moving rooms and different things like that, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so this has been a fantastic solution. Like, I love the ability to just throw from one device to the next and have that control over it, and know that, like, if I'm listening to something, I'm jamming on it, I can pause it real quick. When I get in the Tesla, if I didn't leave, if I stop the music, if I'm playing something in a Tesla, when it wakes back up, it basically will take over the Spotify stream. It'll stop on my phone immediately, but it won't play what's playing on my phone unless it's not already playing something. So if it was, I'm just on the home screen in Spotify or whatever, it'll pick up and be like, oh, this is where we are now. Stop playback on the phone. I'm starting playback here. It's like, it's this seamless like handoff transition, and it's on all my devices, and it just works the way it should. I really do like it.
We need to, because it's kind of on their servers, we need to try the join. So
the join session.
Yeah, the join session stuff. So it's not even that I'm necessarily even casting at that point, right? It's just that I'm joining your cast session through their servers.
I think you can join my session even if I'm not casting.
Right.
I think.
So what does that mean? You pick up on what they're playing?
I got a playlist
so if
going.
he's on his Chromebook on the web interface, and you're playing songs, I can join that session if we're on the same Wi-Fi.
Right, and start messing
and start
around
adding songs.
Add some stuff to the queue, change some stuff, and so we can kind of share. I don't
collaborate.
know. I've not messed with it.
I haven't either, really. I remember Andrew one day was like, hey, let's both... He was playing music. He was like, hey, you can join my session. Yeah. Right. And I remember it worked, but I didn't really think about it, and I haven't thought about it until literally just now.
It's all on their end, so you don't have to worry about whether the Wi-Fi and the cast sessions do like
and they must be doing it everything very well, because what did that Google announced something recently where they highlighted Spotify? I don't remember. It might have been no, it wasn't at the Pixel event.
I don't remember that.
There was something they did, and Spotify was like in the spotlight with it. So I mean,
I don't know.
I'll have to go back and look. It was I don't even know if it was a hardware thing.
I feel like I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do too. I just can't place what it was.
Because I remember thinking, oh, wow, they're talking about Spotify, not YouTube Music. But
yeah. It's like they're just like, okay, we get it. Most people are on Spotify.
Yeah. And and that's the thing. I looked it up for the article that I wrote too. Like, they are by far the number one streaming platform in the world. Yeah. They're also the number one place for podcasts. Yeah. Period.
And that's
like the most plays, most downloads happen through Spotify.
And so my thing too is I had used Pocket Cast for a long time for podcasts. I also use the Google Podcast app. Yeah. But in Spotify, I can literally have my music and my podcast right there. So whenever I get in my truck, I can just tap the podcast and shows, pick up on that podcast right there. Or if I want to listen to music, boom, click over to that album that I was listening to. Like, it's so integrated.
Podcasts in Google Music, Google Play Music at one point.
They started to,
yeah.
Right before they shut it down.
But then they created
Google
as they were moving to
YouTube Music. Thing. Yeah, they created that, and so it's just like, again, it's the beauty of seeing a company that has kind of one thing to focus on. Focusing on
it is they are.
That's it. That's all they do. And
no
streaming.
They're thinking
audio
through like, how can we make this better for people over and over and over again? And they weren't the best. Like, I did not love Spotify for a long time, and now I'm sold.
The video podcast stuff that they're introducing, I think most podcasts can do it now. I don't know if they fully rolled it out in the U.S. to where everyone can upload a video with their podcast. I know we got it. We got access through Anchor, but we upload on YouTube, so that's our kind of hub for that. But there's a lot of people that maybe don't have the know-how or the time to set up a YouTube and do all this different stuff. They can just set it up through Spotify, which is dope. But they have just like honed this product over the years, and I'm blanking on their CEO's name right now, but he was on the Tim Ferriss podcast that I listened to several years ago, and I remember just being like, this guy is like got it, like he knows his stuff, and like this product is really interesting, and I felt like it would evolve. At that time, casting was just it was a no go. Like there's no option to use that service if it was not going to cast in the office for us. But yeah, it's like it's cool to see them evolve and to use this like cloud technology. Like obviously they're a cloud company. Like all of this streaming they're doing is through the cloud, obviously. But to have this cast stuff and the way it's like using their servers, it's just very cool.
To not feel any drop off, like going to their web app, for instance. Like their web app on the Chromebook is so good.
I still need to send them a message about the show notes though. Show notes are so broken on the web app.
Which is weird. Can you set, so you have both right now, right? Because you have YouTube.
Yeah, it's all YouTube Red having YouTube.
For y'all that remember that YouTube Red. So is there a way to set that as your default? Like if I come in the office and I say...
So it's set now.
Oh, yeah, mine's set.
So I say, hey, G, play whatever, it's going to default to spot. Well, not for me.
Well, if you have voice match set up for you. No,
voice match shouldn't for you, but...
For you, it's going to... Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And so like at the house, and it I feel like it does... I feel like it does a good job. So like you were saying, if you get into the Tesla, it's picking up on what you were listening to on your phone.
If I get out of the Tesla and I didn't stop my music, which I don't normally do, and so say I've been really listening to One Republic's newer album. It's not new, but and so if it's playing, that's what one of those songs is playing in my head right now. So I thought about it. And so if I come into the office and I'm playing our kind of chill hop thing that we have kind of going on here, and I go get in my car, it will take back over. So if my phone, say I had it in my earbuds or whatever, and I'm playing, as soon as I sit in that and the Tesla wakes up, like it'll stop in my earbuds and it'll start on it. Like the Tesla will take over as number one.
Right.
But if it was playing something when I left it, it'll start playing that again, which I kind of like that. At first I was like, well, I kind of wanted to do this. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want it to be playing the stuff that we're listening to in the office. But sometimes it does. And it's usually if I've gotten to the end of an album or something and I didn't start something else and I'm getting out of the car and there's no music playing in there. So if it was trying to do something, it's going to restart what it was doing. If not, it'll get out of the way and Spotify will start back what we were doing.
I need to test. So like if I say to the Max, our speaker, if I say, hey, play this, and I open up my phone and put my headphones in, I wonder if it'll pick up on what I had playing on my phone or what I was casting. Probably what was playing on my phone.
Because what happens?
It does automatically switch though. So like, I mean, if I put in my headphones, it automatically is going to start playing. If there's music casting, it will normally start playing. I just can't remember if it's what's on my phone or.
As a metaphor, the way I think about this is regular casting is like just connecting peripherals to a device with Bluetooth. Like you just connect them and they connect or they don't, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. What Spotify's doing is more like hooking in a Logitech dongle. So I've still wirelessly connecting them, but I'm connecting them to this hub thing that then plugs into a thing. Exactly, so when I tell Google to cast Spotify, it's going to cast whatever that server's telling it to.
It's the Robbie Payne Spotify hub.
Right. Boop, whatever Robbie Payne is doing, it's going to do that thing. And so that's kind of the way it's going. And it's a lot smarter.
Yeah.
That's a much smarter way. What's like once you back up and look at it, it's like, oh,
that makes sense.
That probably should have been
from
doing
an account level instead of
And then it's not stumbling over itself constantly, which I feel like casting is doing. It's like, are you casting and he casting, I'm casting, you're casting.
And the assistants in the mix of all of it. And
YouTube Music does, like some people look at Spotify and think, the number of accounts you can have playing at one time is a limitation. It's like, no, that actually cleans up the experience a lot because YouTube Music, I can have it going in multiple devices at one time. And so then that gets even more confusing on which one's casting to what and who's doing what. And so it doesn't know. It's like, oh, Robbie Payne's account's being used on 4 things right now. So I don't know.
You were in Louisville yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Did your music stop at any point while you were driving?
I went driving most
and
of the
do
day.
the whole, on your way up there, did you get the whole, your music's playing on another?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Because I came in. I got back from
stream.
and I said, hey, play some music, and it said playing blah, blah, blah on your spot. So I must not have voice match because it said playing on your Spotify account.
My guess is probably once the next track loaded, it probably shot back to this thing. Nope, he's using this in this car.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah.
Because when I realized it said that, I was like, oh, wait, no, stop. So it's like, somebody just lost their music.
Sorry. It's cool stuff. I've been enjoying it the last few months that I've been back on it, and yeah, it's just like a nice use of cloud technology to get something done.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about. We love it.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to take a quick break for an ad, and we will be right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Let's dig into an unboxing that we put out last week. And this is one that we saw out at CES, and I think we were excited. We were like, this is a cool device, but we weren't like super duper jazzed on it or nothing.
I was too tired.
I was too. I think
It was the end of our trip. We had talked about like, are we coming back to the show next time? Like, it was that mode. It was middle
strange.
of our most packed day. Like,
because it was like
we hadn't. Did we eat? I don't think we had eaten
probably
yet.
Not. We
No,
knew
we ate at that place
we
down.
knew it was a great device, and we were really happy that it was way better than the one that they had released. But the HP was all we were really worried about, and we were all ready to go home.
Yeah.
And it was like we got hands on, and I was like, okay, this confirms it is better than what they've done.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll get it in the office soon.
Yeah. So you might have seen the ASUS. Gosh, I'm going to blank on the name.
Sure.
The first gaming.
So ASUS Vibe CX55.
55. Well, I was not thinking 5601. That was the
5601's a 16 inch.
that was the big
boy,
one.
yeah.
So we did that video and then went out to Vegas and got
We
to
did
see
2 videos back to back. So their gaming Chromebook we did, and then we did the 5601 both, and it was like kind of poo-pooed on both of them.
Right,
but
and
for good reason.
I mean,
deserved it.
we have to share our opinions when they're good and when they're bad.
And it's great fun to do that and then go talk to your rep.
Yeah, they were
face.
like
And they're like, yeah, we heard.
well, and like, but it also, because we had been candid in that video, in those videos, we were able to be like, so like, what's the deal? You know, like,
what's
it
going
wasn't like we had to like.
And it was good that they weren't trying to. They're like, yeah, that's exactly what we did. We
wanted to
we
get in.
rehashed the CM5 or whatever it was, because it's what we had. And we needed.
And
to
they
get a
wanted
device
to be a
out.
part
Had
of
some
the
chassis
announcement.
laying around.
Yeah, they wanted to be a part of the announcement when Google announced cloud gaming is here, and here are some devices that are specific built for cloud gaming.
Right.
And I get it. It's fine, but it just didn't, like, that's not a device that we would recommend anyone really go buy.
No.
So we see the CX34 at the Vibe. I'm going to blank on the whole name.
It's the
Vibe CX34 Flip.
Yep.
And
it's a terrible name.
Yeah,
for a
we'll
great
just
Chromebook.
call it the Vibe CX34.
Yeah.
CX34. And so we saw this thing in Vegas, and we were just tired.
He likes
It
to
was
name things.
it was rough. And then we got it in the office. And did you open it before the unboxing? Be honest.
No.
I don't think you did, because I thought that was
I
one
had to
we were
cut
like,
it.
all right, I'm actually cutting
I'm
this.
cutting
Okay.
this one open because I'm like, hey, we've already done a hands-on.
Every now and then we will open a device just to make sure
oh
everything's
my
there.
gosh. If it's a device we've been waiting on.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Sorry,
you.
I'm not waiting for the
You
camera.
specifically saying that. You saying no.
And also,
do
like,
it
yeah,
again.
we are unboxing it for you, but we want to make an unboxing that's, knowledgeable
A
and
little
informative,
informed. Yeah.
right? Not just not a true live unboxing.
Yeah. And so a lot of times, sometimes, if I've opened it, I'll just open it and look at it and obviously make sure it powers on.
Right.
That would be set up a whole shot. And
You
start
waste
the
a whole
video,
bunch
and
of
it's like,
time.
But it's not like you're sitting there you're not checking the keyboard. You're not really doing all this other stuff. Like,
I
you
just
do
look at it
save
real
that
quick.
stuff for the unboxing.
like, okay, it's good, and put it away. And even if I do form any sort of opinion, I'll also reform them on camera.
Sure.
And I'm not gonna be like, oh, I thought this about it when I opened it earlier, but I'm gonna get on camera and make up a new thing. Like,
no.
it's gonna be the same reaction, but I got to do it for the camera.
And
sometimes.
so unboxing this one, you just have to, I mean, obviously we'll link it in the show notes and everything, but in the video, Robbie's like getting more and more excited about this device as you're talking about it.
Because I just kind of, I don't know, I literally slept on that one a little bit at CES. Just a lot going on.
No, like, he actually took a nap on it.
Yeah.
He used it as
Well,
a nap.
that
it's white.
yeah,
It's
it was
pillow.
on a wall shelf back behind where the counter where like the rep was standing. It wasn't like it was in this area where we could really do some good hands on. It was loud. There wasn't a lot of place to mess with it.
There was that 3D.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah,
the-
Michael Fisher was over there with a mask on, and that was just weird stuff happening, man.
Yeah.
We couldn't-
It
Yeah,
was-
that 3D Ace. We talked about it in one of the other podcasts. It's
Pro
from
Art
CES.
Pro
Pro Art, Pro Screen, Pro
Max.
Max,
Yeah.
Ultra,
3D.
But the
Quad.
3D, this glasses free 3D was astonishing.
Yes.
It was wild.
That
was one of the coolest things I saw.
Like, you haven't seen it,
tech
Google it.
things.
Look
Yeah,
at it.
it's Bizarro Town. Hopefully, they'll put that thing in a Best Buy so people.
I
can
wanted
see
to
it.
film it and put it on Instagram and shorts.
There's no way to do that.
But I couldn't. I would like tried. I tried getting some shots, and I was like, nope, couldn't do it. But that's why they made that mask for Fisher so that he
at
could
least-
put his camera lens.
Yeah, because it tracks
It's on the eyes.
the
Yeah.
thing too. But even on his video, it's it's 2D. It
still doesn't look the
You're
same
only
yet.
capturing pixels in 2 dimensions. So, but yeah, so that all of those factors played into the fact that it was like, oh, here it is, it's here. It doesn't suck. So that was enough for CES. Like, I just wanted to make sure this thing wasn't terrible, and then it came in, and instead of just like not being terrible, it's actually insanely good. I worked from it yesterday all day.
Is that the one you brought to lunch today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, I don't use a stylus that often, but to know it's there, awesome. I think if stylus input is going to be part of the Chromebook story, like if you got room for a stylus, just put one in.
Put it in. Yeah.
Like all these companies have made a little stylus that, they can just regurgitate it, put the different end on it so it slips in and fits, and so I love that part of it. It's not like super dainty or thin. It's just not, but it's also not like grossly oversized. It's comfortable to hold. I love the finish of it. It's almost like a chalky kind of matte finish. Like it's got a grip to it. I like that. The keyframe feels great on it. I typed quite a bit on it yesterday. The display is 400 nits. It stands up outside. I was at Topgolf. I was getting my car worked on, and we Ubered over to Topgolf to wait out the time, and I was sitting in we're in 303, so we're all the way on the end where it's all glass backed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, there's just tons of light everywhere. And I'm sitting up at the little bar just going to town. No big deal.
350?
Huh? 400.
400, okay.
Yeah, 400 net. And
Good on them.
and it's smart like Lenovo. It cranks the hertz refresh down to 60 when it's not plugged in. So I didn't get to look at that 144 all day, but for good reason. Like, it keeps the battery from dying. I worked on it and had it open most of the day yesterday, and like it sat there like a champ. I'd just put lock on and go hit some golf balls and then come back and unlock it. So I mean, I wasn't babying it at all, and I think I opened it up to take to lunch today. It had 60% on it. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's impressive.
It was doing well. I had it open for 3 solid hours at Topgolf, and then at the little Tesla place, I typed and worked on that article. I think it was like an solid hour there too. So I mean, it did really well, and I obviously had to have the display cranked up the entire time. So all that stuff's awesome. The speakers do sound really good. Like, it was dead silent in the waiting room at Tesla. Dead silent, no sound. And so when we first got there were 2 people sitting there, and that was super awkward to sit 4 people in a room with no sound, like dead silent.
I would have turned some music on.
Yeah.
So when we got back over there, it was just me and my wife, and so we were sitting down. And I was like, I can't sit here and write like this, and so I just turned on a little Spotify chill mix, and the speakers are so good in it that it was pleasant to sit and listen to it on there. The trackpad's great, and the screen's awesome, and it's obviously super fast. It's a 12th gen i5, and what's the RAM? Is it 8?
It's 8256.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's the lesser version, right?
Yeah.
The one that we got. Yeah.
we might have gotten the 16512. Oh, we did. We got the 16512.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's that one's 869, 769.
But they're both i5s, right?
Yeah.
That's the only. Okay.
769 for the Core i5 8256.
I would recommend the beefier one if you're
going to go
thinking about buying one.
770, spend 880.
Yeah.
Or 870.
That amount of money for double RAM and double storage is about standard for industry. It's totally worth it.
And you're getting that extra, that headroom for Steam gaming if you want to do that in the future.
Photo editing, video editing.
Yeah.
All that kind of
Chrome
stuff.
and 8 gigs of RAM is really nice. Chrome and 16 gigs of RAM is
it's
real nice.
It's getting shoushy.
So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess. Oh, and it's got an RGB keyboard too. If you want to mess with that. I still think the HP is going to have the best looking RGB keyboard.
It looks
like,
so
it's
sweet.
so like
man.
Rainbow Road looking versus all the rest of them. My color deficiency. I have a hard time seeing all the colors in it. I'm just kind of like, so I end up just putting them on white normally because I can't really see it anyway. Or doing like a blue, like a real deep blue is always nice on it. Like, I can see that really well.
Yeah.
But the reds and the greens just get lost on the keyboards. But the HP, I could see all the whole rainbow of colors. I'm like, oh, it looks pretty sweet.
Especially
on the white one.
against that were the keys gray or white?
They were white. I'm pretty sure it was all white.
Man, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, but I don't want to get off track. Like, obviously we're kind of gaga about the HP, but
Can't wait.
And it's funny, like in lieu of that, a lot of times ASUS tripped and fell in the shadow of the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook in 2020. So when that came out, same thing happened. 2 big Chromebooks get announced. The ASUS should have been awesome. Like, it was thinner, it was lighter, it was all this kind of stuff, and had all this tech going, and it just was a dud.
Yeah.
It was a real dud. And it felt like that year felt like what last year felt like, where they just kind of got lost in the shuffle. And the year prior to that for ASUS, they had the CX5, the CX9 came out, and it was like, oh, like ASUS is back. And we made a video about it, and then it's like, no, they're not back. They're not back. And it feels like the CX34 is probably not enough to be like, oh, ASUS is back in the game, but this is a good step forward. And it takes a lot of what they got right with the CX5 and the CM5, and just I feel like hones it a lot more. Like, this feels like there were just parts of the CX5 that were like, this is good, but it's not the best.
Yeah.
Like that. This is a great Chromebook. I can already tell you it will get reviewed very favorably. Like, it's an excellent experience using it so far.
So is the bottom metal? Is there any metal on it?
The lid is
Lid's metal.
which is pretty.
Okay.
They've done such a great job. And they did this with the CX5 too, like of matching the texture and the feel, and then using good plastic.
Yeah.
Like, you can use good plastic and frame it up properly on the inside, maybe with some extra railing and stuff like that, to make it not wiggly and moving. Like, it's super sturdy. Like, you pick it up with one hand from the corner, it's fine. Like, it doesn't feel like it's creaking and moving and bending and shifting and all that stuff. And so, yeah, the top is aluminum and the bottom is plastic, but unless I pointed it out to you, you're not immediately going to sense that.
Yeah.
And for a lot of Chromebooks, you open the lid and you just sense it. You feel it's top heavy. This feels firm and cool to the touch, and this feels sloppy and bendy at the bottom. And this is not that way. It's firm throughout. Well built. It's just been a pleasure to use so far.
So where I remember it becoming available when we were actually, Gabe writing the article that it was available when we were in CES.
They were like, I think it's ready now.
I think it's actually out.
Yeah, so
where is it now?
Amazon and ASUS, as far as I know.
Okay.
Didn't BH Photo have it?
Oh yeah, BH Photo.
Can you get both models at everywhere, or is it?
So Amazon has
three places.
Amazon.
We have it on Chrome Shop. All 3 are on there. There's one other place that's got it.
Amazon BH.
Oh, Amazon
ASUS.
BH and ASUS.
Yeah. So Amazon has they might have the bigger one now, but they had the i5 8.
Yeah, I think they and B&H both have that.
ASUS is the only place I know that has the bigger one. Okay. I'm shocked because Best Buy had the ASUS and the Acer when they first came out. The other Acer, ASUS. I can't believe Best Buy
is hit and miss with Best Buy.
But that gaming, Best Buy now has a cloud gaming Chromebook category. Yeah. I cannot believe that device is not there. So,
my guess is they probably signed licensing things with companies that say you can have this for a month or whatever.
But yeah, it was on Amazon the day we saw it, or the day
it was
after.
Pre-order at B&H the same day. So, but it's available,
pretty widely available.
Yeah, it can go. You can get it.
Yeah, obviously we're going to do a full review of this device, but sounds like you're recommending it. If somebody's into this device, if they're thinking about getting it.
So far, like I've literally not come across anything with the device, unless you're just looking for the most like svelte and sleek and light, because it's like 3.7 pounds or something.
Yeah,
so it's not.
I carried it back from the meeting
today.
It's
not dainty. It's not like gross and oversized, but it's not dainty.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be the slimmest, sleekest thing ever. It's just well made. And what's funny is, like, with a chassis like that, you can get away with a little bit more because it's white, and so it has like there's a flair about it that you don't get with a lot of laptops.
Yeah, right.
If that was a black laptop or like a dark charcoal colored laptop,
it would feel
you'd be like, oh, that's chunky.
Incredibly industrial is exactly what it was.
So it's funny what you can get away with. It's just a little color change, and that's probably why they did that, I would think. It just gives it a little bit of flair, again, without going overboard. Like, we'll see gaming Chromebooks probably eventually, with more gaming flair to them. But so far, they've all been like so tame that
you could take them to work.
Yeah, you turn off the RGB keyboard, like nobody else is going to know anything. Yeah. And let's not forget the Pixelbook, which is one of everyone's favorites over time. Like it's an all white device. Like white laptops are kind of sweet looking.
Yeah,
like I'm going for the white HP
for sure.
It's just cool looking. I have nothing really bad to say about that device yet, and hopefully I won't by the time the review comes out. But it's been great.
So you've mentioned the HP a few times. Dragonfly Pro coming.
I feel like I mention the HP at any time I can.
Gotta throw it in.
It's a Shure microphone there. Have you seen the HP Dragonfly Pro?
It's nice.
There's a black
version that's like this.
I'm just thinking about the St. Andre golf guy when he's finding every reason to talk about
TPC.
Sawgrass. Did you Sawgrass?
Oh my gosh. So another company that you wrote about this week that we wish would make a high-end Chromebook.
LG.
And maybe it'll come after the Dragonfly. Like maybe the Dragonfly will come, the market will
LG
accept
Graham.
it.
We're at LG.
Yeah, LG Graham.
But HP needs to make a gaming Chromebook too. They've stayed out of that fight thus far. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Acer, it's time for Acer to make a high-end Chromebook. And some people may hear that and be like, wait, they have, the 713, 714.
Right. Those are nice.
I would call those mid-high.
Yeah, they're nice.
Like, they haven't swung yet.
But have you seen their premium Windows devices?
Haven't.
And that's what I was writing a deal article or something the other day, and I referenced ultra premium, and my idea of ultra premium has changed a lot in just the last 12 months because 2 years ago, the Best Buy models that were like the consumer facing Core i3, Core i5s, to me that was ultra premium because that was kind of where the market was unless you were buying enterprise. I'm with you. That's middle of the road now. That's solid, consistent, good device that I can recommend to people. But if you want ultra premium, you need to go Pro or a Swift that doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's going to be, it'd be high end, $1,000 kind of range, and Acer hasn't even come close to doing that. The 713, the original 713, had a config that was close to $1,000.
Yeah.
And Gabe did the poll, and we collected some data, and $800 seems to be the spot where most people are comfortable with a high-end Chromebook.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I think that's a little bit on the low side. When you start thinking about materials that you would need to make a premium, because we're not talking about just a nice Chromebook. We're talking about like a premium Chromebook, because you get a premium Windows laptop and they're $2,000. I mean, look at Samsung's we talked about last week. The Galaxy Book 3
Ultra Pro.
When you put all of those components together, it just costs money.
Yeah.
Never mind all the R&D that goes into. Have you ever opened up a laptop and looked at the motherboard and what the foresight that has to go into creating something like that is mind-boggling to me. Like, it's not like you can just off the shelf grab stuff and put it together like Legos. It's like you have to start with this chassis and then think, okay, how do I fit that thing in this chassis? And okay, well, that motherboard work with this and like that.
You got thermal dispersion and all sorts of stuff.
It's just nuts.
Especially when you start talking about the super thin and light devices.
Yeah. Well, because if it's going to be expensive, it can't be chunky. It's got to be super thin. Okay, well, it's got to be super thin and super light and super fast and super. Okay, well, all that stuff costs money. So there's R&D and there's work and all the people you got to pay to build the thing to make it. And 3D rendering and design and figure out how to make it all work and fit and test and do all that. And then think about the components you're asking to put in these devices. And so, these $2,000 to $3,000 Windows laptops that all of a sudden people want that same hardware in a Chromebook, because it doesn't run Windows.
Right.
It's like, that doesn't make any sense. The value proposition we've talked about 100 times makes sense. I get, why would I want to buy something that expensive if I can't do XYZ on it?
Right.
No arguments there. But $1,000 doesn't really get you a ton when you start talking nicer components in a Windows or a MacBook type situation. $1,000 in a Chromebook, we expect everything, right? Yeah. We expect the moon
gotta have
and
it all.
Stars,
yeah.
And so it's a weird conundrum for people.
And that's the poll kind of proved itself out as to what I thought the view of the good majority of the general public still, because there were quite a few comments on Twitter saying, well, why would you pay that much for something that just runs a browser or can't install apps on or this or that? That's still a general consensus for a lot of people.
Right.
And that's going to be Google's uphill battle to prove to people that it's so much more than that.
Yeah, and they have to. I mean, from what we understand, that's kind of the goal this year is to remove a lot of those hurdles that are removable now.
Yeah. HP's taking a big swing with the Dragonfly because they believe that the market's ready for that, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, and so
I found another way to bring up that.
it'll prove I think, the whole thing, one way or the other. It's either going to not go well, and or $600 or $700 or $800 Chromebooks, or that's it. And that's what the market's going to do for another few years.
Move up.
Or people are going to be like, oh, this is really awesome. And I hope they stick with it. I hope they stay true to the device as a whole, and make sure to kind of see it through and provide good support for it and stuff, because it took the Pixelbook, and granted this was years ago, but it took the Pixelbook months before people were like, damn, this thing's good. Like, I love this thing. Like, journalists, reporters, people in creative spaces going, I was resistant to it, but I started using it. I'm like,
why I returned to my Pixelbook, or why I'm only using the Pixelbook. Yeah, it's really good.
And so, like, I think HP has the ability to do that now 10x at this point. I think there's enough people now that do rely on Chromebooks 100%, that or do rely on them enough to sink some extra cash into a device that's nicer and it feels better and it's more comfortable to use. And so all of those things play out. Well, here's Acer over here that's never tried. And to be fair, I don't know if they've even tried an enterprise, have they?
Their enterprise devices have
I feel
just
like
been...
ASUS took their swing with a CX9 in enterprise. To me, that's not taking a swing. That's what HP's doing is taking a swing. What Samsung did with the Galaxy Chromebook, that was taking a swing. Making a $2,000 Chromebook's a Dell kind of move. Like, we're going to make it, and we'll build it when somebody orders it, and that's it. And we'll never sell it anywhere. We'll never market it. No one ever know it exists outside of those guys at Chrome Unboxed. And that's,
go watch our one video we did about it 2 years ago.
And it's frustrating, trying to talk about them, because people are like, well, that's just for people in suits and in corporate offices and stuff that have the money to just spend random amounts of money on a computer they can hand out to their people. And that's where high-end Chromebooks have been for a few years now. At post Pixelbook, Pixelbook Go, Samsung.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, when we saw a big push, it felt like last year and end of the year before, it was like, oh, we know all these big Chromebooks are coming. They were all enterprise. It was all enterprise focused. You couldn't get your hands on them. It was so frustrating.
I mean, the Elite Dragonfly we were so excited about, and yes, a consumer can buy it, but even right now, even with a discount, the cheapest you can get one's $900.
Right.
And it's it's a great device, but it's still $900. Retails for like $14.
Well, and you're asking people to buy stuff sight unseen too. Like, you can't go to Best Buy and look at it and be like, oh my
feel
God,
it.
this thing's
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
This is nice.
This new one
that right there
different.
makes it not a consumer device.
It's
a
not.
consumer device is something that people can see in the wild.
Look at it and see it, and know that, okay, well, I realize I'm spending my money on something that feels premium in quality. And so, Acer, Lenovo has done a couple enterprise ones that are bigger swings, but that they haven't really taken a big swing. I don't know, what is their...
That C14's their enterprise.
Oh,
the Yoga, yeah.
Their consumer line, that like their high-end Yogas look like this year's model is amazing looking. Or they got that split screen one we saw at CES, like stuff like that. They've not tried that, obviously, with Chromebooks.
And that's the thing. They did the Lenovo Yoga C630 back in the day.
Yeah, I thought they were going to start going down that road.
It's like, it's time for them to do that.
That was the only Yoga, right?
Yeah, well, they have Yoga Chromebooks that are EDU devices.
Well, and they've got the Idea Pad, so that the blue one, the navy blue one.
Is a Yoga.
Oh, that's right.
It's like a C13 Yoga or something like that.
Anything that converts for them, they slap Yoga on. But I'm talking like the consumer Yoga.
Yeah, they're nicer ones. Yeah.
So remember, we thought Peabody was coming.
It was totally a thing, and then it just got scrapped. That's what that thing is now.
Yep.
That Peabody that we talked about years ago, it was a dual screen Chromebook, like that was in the works, and a digital keyboard at the bottom. Didn't work out.
Yeah.
But Acer, is among the groups that hasn't tried at all. I don't think, and they have it. Like, they've got the hardware, the ability, the scale. We've messed with them multiple years. It's not just one
device.
What
was the new one? The Swift 7?
I don't think they put a name on it. It's just this new Swift. Acer Swift. And so that they're, instead of doing a 357 like they do kind of with Chromebooks, like those models, it's like Swift Go, Swift
14, and then a 14X.
X. Yeah.
Well, the one that our CES,
we messed. I looked at it again. Yeah. We messed with the Swift 14.
The nicest. Like
because the X one it's a thicker device and it's got a big honking GPU.
Yeah, you get a big
GPU in it.
Yeah.
This one is like
the nice consumer, like normal one.
Felt like it weighed this much.
It was insane. So we they had a big, huge booth when we first walked in. I was like, oh, this is nice. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then They did the same thing they did last year.
Oh yeah, same.
They were like,
halls,
oh, you guys come over here, and we like walk into this like side room that's like this big like.
It's like a
Like
ballroom.
much larger room than it needed to be,
they
right?
could fit their stuff in here.
social
And-
media team sitting at the table doing stuff.
Yeah, it was
and
it was
it's,
just like a press type
Yeah,
room, but like
kinda come
the
off to the
press
side.
people are in there working. It was fine. I'm not dogging on
Yeah,
it, but
yeah,
it was
yeah.
just not. It was a little strange, but they did have the Swift PCs over on the side, so.
Mm-hmm.
We're filming the 24 all add-in
Add-in
one. We're filming the Vero EDU devices
Yeah.
out now. We were looking at that, looking at some of the other EDU devices. And then I'm over there filming, trying to get B-roll of this add-in one, which was strange because the lighting was weird, whatever. And Robbie's like, hey, as soon as you're done, come look at this thing.
Go look at this
Robbie's over there just playing with this little paper-thin laptop. And
So nice.
the screen on that thing was
Big, huge
saucy.
OLED,
and
gorgeous
just,
screen. You know,
wow.
fantastic trackpad.
I don't know. What's the price
keyboard.
on that guy? I wonder.
I don't know. I think they're like a $1,200.
I would say 12 or
$1,500
14.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it's their premium end, and
Yeah.
for a little while, Acer was back and forth on their premium laptops, like because they had Aspire was their like entry level. I think it still is. They had Swift, but then they had one other.
They have a Travel Mate, but they have
had some other laptop brand. I don't remember what
Aspire.
it was.
No, yeah, Aspire.
Aspire.
Yeah, I thought that was always their lower end.
Yeah.
maybe.
What was the like creator brand?
Oh, that's
Concept D or
Yeah,
whatever.
Concept D.
Yeah.
That's their.
That's
big-
a different thing, but-
that's
Yeah, that's
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the
I
name.
feel
of
like
it,
they had two higher end brands, but it's Swift now. Like that's their thing, and you know these laptops are just, gosh, they're just gorgeous. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like you all have the hardware, you have it.
Yeah.
It's right there. Just make a spec with a Chromebook.
Yeah.
We're just gonna start putting Chrome OS on these and just show them. Just show them off. Look,
Yeah.
look at this.
Let's just put Flex on it.
I mean,
and
that's
see
what that.
happens.
A friend of mine bought a Samsung laptop at Christmas because he needed something just for a specific Windows application because he's usually a Mac guy. But he said it's like a $900,000 Samsung. I don't know which one it is, but
he
he
said
said
$900,000.
$900,000
or $8,000.
Every keycap is
$900,000.
diamond.
But it's
a sapphire trackpad.
It's a 12th gen Core i5. It's pretty standard.
it's gold-plated.
8256, but it's sleek,
Yeah.
dark metal, and just the fit and finish. And he said he got it for like a little over $500. I'm like, every Chromebook manufacturer should be making something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean they have the ability to do it. Like,
Absolutely.
they do. It's just choosing whether or not to do it. And again, for them, I get it. Like manufacturers, anybody listening to this that's like, well, I'm in charge of the Chromebook team at such and such. Like, look, we get
You
it.
suck. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we totally get it. Like, totally get like when you're looking at that value proposition for the manufacturer, they're looking at it and going, if we dump this money into this thing, we're going to have to sell it at this price in order to make our profit because they're a business. That's what they got to do. And so when they look at that price, whatever that price is, they have to decide, if we put this out here at that price, is anyone actually going to buy it?
Yep.
And so that part's on Google to help these manufacturers get that stuff aligned. And I feel like that's the goal this year.
That's where they're
is
at.
to clean that stuff up so that it's clear, hey, it's okay if you want to go make that.
In some of it, I mean, some of it is awareness, right? Like just showing people what it's capable of, but some of it's kind of marketing too. Like Chrome OS has gotten this bad rap, and I mean, you know, people still say it's just a browser. You know, it's like some of the comments on Twitter, and you know, why is it that some of these luxury brands can charge what they charge for some of these, you know, Balenciaga, whatever? Well, they've marketed it in such a way, and people want to pay that because they've created a certain, you know, understanding around this product that people want it. And so, you know, I think just reinforcing, like getting it in people's hands, like showing people that you can do these things, but then also like a little bit of marketing and, you know,
and
like
I think that's,
creating a message that isn't it's just a browser.
Yeah, and
you know?
I agree with Robbie. I think that's where they're at with the manufacturers because for the last few years, it's been, you know, Chrome OS marketing has all been kind of like taking digs at the other operating systems and fun, lighthearted stuff, which is good. People need to know that stuff. They need to know it's secure. They need to know it's lightweight, it's safe. It's all they need to know all that. But now that foundation has been built, it needs to be, hey, this is a viable, formidable option in the PC space.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's
it'd be-
legitimate, and you need to consider it. You know?
It'd be fun for. I never loved the Surface commercials that were kind of like this, but maybe an idea could be like almost like case study type thing, right? Where it's like, I'm so-and-so and I use a Chromebook to get my such and such job done.
Yeah.
I'm so-and-so. I use my Chromebook to get such a job.
Right.
Do you remember the Surface ones where I'm talking about where the one that I always remember is like the lady was like totally pushing overwork culture. She's like, I work 80 hours a week and I blah, blah. Like people online were like, cool. Like that's not cool anymore. Like that sucks. That sounds miserable.
Yeah, right.
You know?
If I buy a Surface, is that going
But
to
it
happen
was like,
to me?
you know, I'm a movie director and I use the Surface to get blah, blah, done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
We should just do that. We'll just make those videos.
yeah.
All right.
Make our own commercials.
So yeah, I don't know. I think there's obviously still some evolution of the market. We got to see how the Dragonfly Pro does.
Yeah.
We're all very hopeful.
I am. I'm a little anxious about it.
I am.
We will shout it from the rooftop.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
What sucks is it'll be out, you know, in the spring or whatever they're going to release it, and then it'll be till the end of the year before we know whether it accomplished anything or not.
Right.
So,
I mean,
it sucks to not be able to just know, like, it's here. Is everybody going to buy it or not? Can you all just let me know?
with some of our partners,
Did you sell out yet?
Yeah, like with some of our partners, we might get to see some of the
I hope
clicks.
so.
I
That'd
mean,
be dope.
obviously, we know how many clicks we send to certain
Sure.
things, but as far as sales and that sort of stuff, we can track some of that through Best Buy and other partners and stuff.
Yeah.
So like we'll maybe get a little pulse on it, but as far as like a shift in the market, yeah, for sure, it'll be
It'll take
take
6
a
to 8
while,
months
so.
to know if it had any impact at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But folks, that's it for this week. We appreciate you all tuning in and listening and watching. If you are watching over on YouTube, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Go down there and click subscribe and click the notification bell so that you get an alert when we put out future episodes, weekly episodes like this, maybe an interview here and there.
Yep.
Just new stuff from
You
the,
never know.
the Chromecast podcast.
We got an interview coming.
We do.
Never
gonna
know
be
what
sweet.
you're
It's going to be a good one.
Can't tell
you
you
better
yet.
get subscribed
Yeah,
and get
it's
that
gonna be
notification bell.
Is it Elon Musk?
It
No.
is.
Yes.
He heard I bought a Tesla.
Yeah, he
Come in
did.
and talk to us.
I've been waiting.
I've been waiting for
They
Robbie.
bought one.
Finally, after 2 years of talking about it.
That is 100% false.
Not
Yeah,
true.
we're not getting
Oh, you bought a Tesla from a used
Hey,
car?
if anyone
Way to go.
if anybody from Elon's team is listening and want Elon to come chat with us about Chromebooks,
Why
we would
not?
be more than happy to host him.
Yeah.
We'll fly to him.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll go
that's
to the
it.
Gigafactory.
Yeah, we'll go. All right, that's it for this one. We'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.